Welcome back, listeners. This is part two of, again, a different direction we're kind of moving in this week. And we are speaking with the amazing Cedric Edison. You can see him in his amazing glasses there.
What's up?
And we've got our special guest, as we had last time, once again with us, Caton. She is she made it through the first podcast, and she decided to come back and explore a second opportunity. But just so much gratitude for Karen for joining us. Cedric, obviously, always gratitude for you for showing up and being a part of this. But Karen, especially you, just kind of being connected to this, I guess, vision and experience that we've created out there. And you from afar have been a big supporter of ours and so value that. And we feel very fortunate to have you here kind of supporting us as well as being involved in this conversation. And in this part, we're speaking again, as we did last time, about being a superhero, or what type of superhero kind of resonates with you in your life, and some areas where you some of those powers that you have, and some of maybe the challenges, or we call it kryptonite, that may be something that affects your ability to kind of be that best version of yourself, or to have some of those powers that you're able to possess and put on display for others to experience. So, Cedric, we are kind of moving in your neck of the woods as far as you being that amazing superhero. We all know you. We already all know you as a superhero, so it's not like we're saying something that's not already out there. But when but when you look at yourself and some of your unique gifts that you have, obviously that many people have experienced already, what superhero might resonate with you, and as well as any type of superpowers that you feel resonate with who you are as an individual?
I mean, I guess a little boy in me would say, man, Superman. Who didn't want to be Superman? And I was kind of thinking about that a little bit. But realistically, like, time and time again, when I'm thinking about it, I would love to have somebody with some mythical powers, like Wonder Woman could shoot all this stuff. But for me, Bruce Wayne resonates, man. Because he's just a real dude that's just trying to help, and he experiences, not that all the other ones don't, but he's the most human out of them all. And so his emotions and all of that stuff, that resonates with me. And I'm kind of like him, but I can't think of his name, but the last one, just my superpower is I'm a teacher, and a motivator, and I think I'm a pretty good storyteller. I can tell a pretty good story. And so that's how I go out and help the world. And one day I aspire to be Batman, have all the cool gadgets to go out and help fight crime. And really I'm getting the gadgets now. That comes by way of going to different retreats, having man-to-man, being able to invite, different guests on, and it's all learning. And it's like, oh, hey, I got a new bat boomerang or whatever. Hey, I got a new car, or Batmobile or whatever. So that's who really resonates with me a lot, and my powers.
Mm-hmm. So what lurks around the corner for you as far as something that kind of detracts from that power, or kind of lessens that power that you sometimes have to be mindful of? Not necessarily something you can't move through or persevere through, but something that challenges you. And what might that kryptonite in your life be?
Man, honestly, for me, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people out there, my biggest thing is fear. And I would have to say fear of judgment and fear of failure by way of no follow through, are my biggest kryptonites. When that fear comes on, and I'll be honest, like, it's been a while since we did, a video, but I'm committed to this, and I had to show up. So, and I saw the fear blockers, and I was like, oh yeah, those are going to help, because it's been a while. I'm like, oh, hey, let me just grab the fear blockers, and I got to show up. But it pops into my head, that those are my big things that well up inside of me, my kryptonite for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, Ced. So fear as kryptonite. Tell us and tell me a little bit more how you handle that. How do you tell that kryptonite to get the heck out of the way?
Man, every day I'm faced with it, it's different. But I've now come to realize, one, I have to surround myself or at least have at my disposal a good group of people, i.e. Ron, my uncle, spiritual advisor, and I listen to a lot of different things. One, I want to be a speaker, a larger speaker. I'm growing into it. So I'm listening to all of this stuff, and when I feel it, I have all this stuff I can grab a hold to kind of help motivate me, to push me through that. And I have one more thing to add to my kryptonite. And I guess it's not really, if I had to change it up, guys, and I do apologize, it just hit me. I was like, it's not really the fear. Fear is what happens after the kryptonite thing hits. And I think my kryptonite, when it comes out, it makes me weak. It's the hesitation, that moment of hesitation, like Mel Robbins said, because I hesitate. And that moment allows all this other stuff to come in. So when I do see it, I just grab a hold to different stuff. And I was blessed to have a very, very good memory of what it's like to step through fear. I'll be honest, it was just a blessing. And that was in Dallas. Hence the fear blockers, these helped me. No, I mean, I really did, because this was the best thing ever for me to go on stage in front of over 800, or right at 800 people. And that was one of the scariest moments of my life. But I also know what it was like to actually just be thrown into it, because you've committed to a man, and you have to do it in order to see the end result. The only way to do it is to do it. And just step through it. And I always reflect back on that. And sometimes it's a lot harder, you procrastinate, but those are one of the things. Really, it's just a lot of inner work for me. And now I'm getting back, and for me, I have a connection with God and being present, and just trying to look at it from a standpoint like, God did not create me to be a fearful person, so why should I remain in that fear? Because I know what happens. Like, we rock the building. So good things can come when you step through the fear. And I learned a lot of stuff like, holy cow, you resonate with people. They thought I worked for HCI. I'm like, no, I'm a student. So they thought we were like there with the school. So for me, it's just a lot of motivation. Like, hey, looking at my why am I doing this? Like, let me step through it. You have to. And then it's kind of becoming a game. It's like, oh, you feel this? Okay, cool, great. But I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, what if? What? I have to see now. Like, what's over there? Like, let me check it out.
What do you think is something right now that is sort of a kryptonite thing, that fear, that something you've got going on that you're like, okay, fear, you're standing here getting in my way a little bit, throwing some kryptonite my direction. What's one thing right now that you're trying to walk through that fear is stepping in the way a little bit?
Are you really asking me that right now? Oh, I gotta put it in the universe. I love this space we have. And I'll be honest, this is something I've been dealing with for the longest, and it's really growing my online presence because I essentially want to be able to draw a following from the virtual world, social media and all of that stuff. But my personal is my personal and my work is my work. But I do believe that there are a lot of people on my personal side that needs to hear what I have to say. And so it's really just building the power up to step through that fear. Because that's a big fear of mine, because all of those judgments, what are they going to say? These are my friends. Like, they know the 180 me. They know the dude that was in the gang. And like, now I'm talking all this. Hey, let's change, guys. Like, what are they going to say?
So put on your cape right now. Put it on. Get ready. What's the worst thing that could happen?
The worst?
Yeah, what's the worst thing that could happen if you put yourself out there with your cape on and said, hey, I'm changing the world, friends?
I mean, honestly, everybody says, okay,
and then, so what's the best thing that could happen, superhero Cedric?
I mean, the exact opposite polar of that. I mean, everybody could say, I'm in. I mean, that's the best case, like, oh, hey, everybody that viewed, and hey, I want in.
That sounds pretty good to me, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like it too. I see
love
what you did
it.
there.
You're welcome, friend. You're welcome. I love it.
Cedric, I'm going to kind of move in another direction with you. And I know we've had some conversations around, you being a father, something that you're definitely becoming very mindful of. It's becoming, very present as the days get closer and closer. We had our podcast on fatherhood, and that was very powerful. So I'm interested in this conversation around being a superhero. You're going to have a son that's going to want to be just like you. He's going to want to emulate the wonderful things that you're doing in your life at an early age. I mean, I think those are going to be subtle things that you'll see them and you'll experience them. You're like, why is he doing that? Oh, that's right. I do that too. So I'm, I guess, putting out there for you, how early in your child's life do you see yourself being a hero to your son once he becomes of an age to where you're able to give him some of those beautiful gifts that you have to offer?
Man, I would like to say when he first has his first memories, because it's weird. Like, I'm that weird guy. I'm talking to the belly and doing all that stuff. I'm like, oh, you can hear me in there, dude, but you're going to be awesome. Like, you can't let anybody else tell you that when you get out here, right? That really happened. I can't really put an age on it, but when he comes to an age of understanding, whatever that may be, I'm not sure what that would be. And I'm sorry, like, what was the question? The question again? I just had a.
I'm thinking when, and as your son comes into your life, into your world, you're going to obviously see this amazing person that you've helped to create in your life, and you have these superpowers already at your disposal, or you become more aware of them as you become a father, something you haven't been before. I guess I'm just getting you to kind of maybe share with the audience what that may look like in your life. Maybe not so much things you're able to give to him at that point, but maybe some of those inner powers that you have that you're kind of going to be tapping into, and what that experience might look like for you as you evolve into a whole nother chapter of your life of being responsible for another person's everyday kind of who they
That's
are.
Man, damn good question. I appreciate that. Because it, like, right now I just realized, I'm like, holy shit, like, I really have to get this going. Like, it's 11 weeks away and I have to get this business going. And one of the things I want to be able to teach him, and the way I see you teach a child is you lead by example. They're just going to emulate what they see. That's what children do. So I have to lead by example. And now we're starting to communicate. He can see, but I plan to tell him so he can understand at a young age that, you know, I don't know, like maybe not every time, but at major times in my life, I plan to tell him like, hey, Dad's scared. You know, because there's probably going to be times I'm going to lean on him because I may be about to give a speech and just have to look over at him and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. And since he's there, he'll witness me from the beginning, like, hey, Messiah, man, look, Pop's scared, bro. Like, I'm scared, man. But hey, this is the reason I'm telling you is because when you get of an age and you have to start doing shit, I want you to understand, like, when you feel that fear, just kind of remember what Daddy did, because I'm not going to be here all the time. Like, just kind of remember what I did and just keep going. Like, and then he'll see me go out on stage or whatever the case may be. So it's really just leading by example and, you know, step through fears, be the best version of yourself at all times. And the times you feel as if you didn't be the best you, acknowledge it, but don't beat yourself up. And just help any and everybody that you can with time allowed and finances allowed. If you can, if you're in the position to help, but your day should, everybody you meet, you should think, how can I help them?
Mm-hmm.
And those are all just, I guess, things that we look at or aspire to be in our lives, and yet we don't necessarily look at ourselves as being superheroes or having these powers that are, you know, something we don't often connect to or tap into. And I think that's important because I think we watch these movies that have these heroes that are, you know, like Karen mentioned, you know, it's not so much about, you know, the ability to, you know, have this amazing technology or something that's outside of us. It's this amazing strength and ability to share with what's within us. And I think as individuals that are listening, I think that's important because I think, you know, oftentimes, especially as men, you know, we tend to tap into our ego and we'll share things about ourselves as far as being this great man because of something that we're able to do externally versus something we're able to share or connect with internally. So I think
can I bring something up? One of the things in my coaching that I talk about with people is being ordinary, extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be wearing the cape and being the strong dude or the woman that's doing it all. You can be absolutely ordinary and be an incredible superhero.
Right.
And Cedric, I want to piggyback on something also that you said about, you know, really kind of showing up. All you want to do is show up for your kid. Tell them when you're scared or when you're excited. The very best thing that I ever did with my children was go from a mom who was not doing that for her whole life, really, for their whole young life, was like, yes, everything's great, even when it wasn't. The best thing I ever did was exactly what you just said. It completely changed my relationship with my children, my relationship with myself. And I can tell you, you're going to do great as a dad. That right there, if that's the cornerstone of where you're going, buddy, all of us, should we all do that, show up and be honest and authentic, you're going to be just fine.
It's like I'm going to be his little manager, and the way I look at it is you have to train your employees to take your place.
Right.
And everybody just kind of moves up, so I got to train them to be the next. Matter of fact, that's the age you got to. It might be most high young man to man.
Well, Cedric, we were laughing about my son and your son being the next generation of man to man, or whatever that our title evolves into, whatever that looks like. And I was like thinking initially, is like, well, gosh, your son's going to be this age, and my son is this. Well, that's less than the age differential between us now. So I think knowing that, I guess brings up a whole nother conversation around how we connect with just like-minded people. I think, or a black man from another state, or, all these things that we've connected to. Yeah. I mean, I think you and I don't, I think you and I just see each other as amazing, lights in this world, or energy and love and all these things that represent us more so than this human body that we, unfortunately at times put a lot of attention on, versus just that ability and desire to connect, in this conversation we have. So I think just kind of building that within your relationship with your son early on, knowing that there's, so much, data and experiences that he's tapping into from I remember when my son was born, and I think I shared this with you, Cedric, about, my wife had had surgery. She had a C-section. So I spent like 2 hours just staring into his eyes for the longest time, and just how that connection early on has just carried over into our relationship today. And just knowing that experience early on, how it, kind of created that emotional, physical bond that I think is there. But I mean, obviously things evolve, they become older. Now he's a teenager and got attitude and all these things that go along with as we all evolve. But I guess the moral of my story is, be that superhero from day one in your son's life. And like Karen's saying, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a cape on, or you're doing these, extraordinary things. It's about you being present, you being an authentic man, you being vulnerable, all these things that you and I value in each other, and really seeing others, and that ability to really kind of be that authentic, amazing man that you are.
Awesome. Man, I'm not gonna lie, your story gives me chills when I hear that, and it messed me up. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, damn it, why'd Ron tell me that? Because now I can't wait to, I'm like, man, I can't wait for that moment. Like, golly, I want it. Like, man. But I appreciate it, guys. I really do. But man, to take it to another side, I feel like, though, a part of that is in it all too. And I know we're talking about the superhero thing. And this was a conversation I was having with my uncle, and it's kind of interesting. Okay, I didn't see Karen up there anymore.
Yep. So Cedric, any last closing comments for you?
Man, since we're talking about these, don't be afraid of using your superpowers. One, please don't. You'll be amazed of some of the things you can pull off and accomplish in your life, in your relation, in everything. And for me, if you're like me and you and fear is your kryptonite, just understand that God or the universe or the higher power is just trying to teach you something. Like I think in testimony, in my faith and my belief, we use the word testimony, but you can't have a testimony without a test. And sometimes you got to walk through that fire and get purified and learn some things about yourself to become a better person and to do greater things for the greater good. Mm-hmm. So just kind of remember that, guys, and hit me up if you need help with
it. Well, thanks once again, Karen, for part 2. We've got part 3 coming up, where I will be the topic of conversation, my superhero that I connect with, and my superpowers. So, Cedric, As always, namaste to you and a namaste to all the listeners.
Namaste.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Mhm.